Side. She refused to open the door.
Did her roommate become a living nightmare?
I kicked the door in.
I said, get out of my house. He grabbed me, tried to choke me, then he pulled me up off the floor, told me he was going to kill me for what I'd done to him.
Judge Judy.
Is that right, Mr. Tippett?
No, it's complete fabrication, right?
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is her courtroom. This is Judge Judy. Truck driver Robert Tippett is suing his ex-roommate, housing specialist Sally Coleman, for the return of his personal property. Sally says she kicked him out when he kicked in her door and attacked her. She is countersuing for the attack and for unpaid rent and storage fees.
All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 373 on the calendar, the matter of Tippett versus Coleman. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Mr. Tippett, according to what I've read, you met the defendant in some sort of a chat place on the internet.
Correct.
And then there came a time when you moved into her home.
That's correct.
And it is your claim that she kept and or sold some of your personal property when she locked you out of the house at some point after an altercation.
That's correct.
Ms. Coleman says that she has none of your personal property, that you were abusive to her, that you choked her, were assaultive. That's the reason you were locked out of the house. And that you did have certain property there, some of which you took, and the rest of it she tried to get you to come and get several times. You didn't come and get the property. She put it out and she disposed of it. She's counterclaiming for the assault. She's counterclaiming for some rent that she says you owe her, and for storage fees for storing the property that you left behind. That's nonsense.
Right.
You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. When did you move in with her and why, Mr. Tippett?
I moved in on April 7th of this year, 2003. The reason I moved in with her is I was going to be homeless or having to move back in with my mother in Atlanta, Georgia.
Why?
For being unemployed for an extended period of time, and I was writing a book.
Is what you're telling me is that you planned on moving in with Ms. Coleman and not paying any money to her?
There was an arrangement for me to pay weekly $70.
Did you have your own room?
No, I slept on the sofa in the living room.
Okay. So now you're living there and you move in on the 7th of April.
Correct.
2003. When did you move out?
Well, I left on the 30th of August. I didn't move on the 30th of August. I was not allowed to get anything.
Well, why don't you tell me what happened?
On the 29th of August, I went out to get some dinner, and when I returned around 8:30, 8:45, the door had been deadbolted from the inside. I knocked on the door, spent 30 minutes outside using cell phone, calling 911 to get assistance to have her open the door to let me in. She refused to open the door, and she refused to open the door because she said I owed her $30, and I had paid her $40 cash that Friday, and the $30 that I did not pay her, I explained to her, was because I had spent $20 filling her car up with gas that Monday, and twice during the week when she had no money, I had loaned her $5 each time for lunch at work. So the reason she barred the door and was not going to let me back in was because I owed her $30.
Did you get any of your property at any time after August 30th?
Well, I stayed the night after the police came and were called after I kicked the door in.
Oh, so you kicked the door in?
Well, I kicked it once and the door opened and it shattered the door jamb. So yes, I kicked the door in.
Were the police with you when you kicked the door in?
Were the police what?
With you?
No.
Well, what happened when you kicked the door in?
Well, I had a burrito that had been going cold for about an hour. I sat down on the sofa and ate it.
What'd she do when you kicked the door in?
She called the police, and I sat and waited and let her know when the police had arrived, and we talked to the police when they got there.
And you stayed the night that night, is that right?
Yes, I did.
And you left the next day?
Left the next day.
What did you leave?
I left everything.
Like what's everything?
All of my computer, my bed, most of my clothing, every belonging that I had other than what I could carry in my arms.
Did you ever get your computer?
No, I did not.
Where's his computer?
I had to sell it to pay for glasses after 3 weeks of him not coming back to get it. And I had to have glasses for work. And I had no money to pay for it. That he broke.
How much did you get for
I got $150. And I brought...
What else did you sell?
That's all I sold.
Where's his bed?
The bed is at my apartment. He gave me the bed before he moved in because mine was too short for him to sleep on. And he didn't have a place to store mine.
I thought he was sleeping on the sofa.
He didn't want to sleep on the sofa after he moved in. He wanted me to sleep on the sofa because he worked harder than I did, and the sofa was too short for him.
Did he come back to the house with a police officer to get his other property?
No, we tried to get him to. The lieutenant that investigated the case and he was supposed to have taken his stuff the day he assaulted me. He would not make an effort.
I want you to tell me about the assault, Ms. Coleman.
Okay.
He kicked in the door.
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when he kicked in the door?
He took my cell phone and the home phones and kept them to himself that night so that I could not call the police. This was after the door had been broken down, and it took him 30 minutes to knock down that door with a deadbolt on. It wasn't just one time. He kicked it all, and all the neighbors called the cops. I had 5 sets.
Why had you locked him out?
Because he would not pay rent. I told him the only way you're going to stay with me is if we get your own room, and your name is going to go on the lease, so you're obligated to pay the rent. He would not do that. He said he wasn't going to pay me rent. He wasn't going to pay anything. That I could get a 2-bedroom, but I could pay for it myself. And I had gone to work. He had a job, but he quit it because he didn't want to work. He wanted to write his book, and he wanted me to support him while he did that.
What was the entire rent on the apartment?
$600, $589 actually a month.
That includes all the utilities?
No, ma'am. He had to have cable TV, so we had the cable TV. We had electric. We had phone that he called his mother on. Also, when he moved in, he agreed to go to work and pay me rent. After a month, I had to make him go to work. I called the cops. I wanted him to leave. He would not leave. He said he refused to leave.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He grabbed me by the hair, slung me on the floor, tried to choke me. Then he pulled me up off the floor by the hair on the back of my head and told me he was going to kill me for what I'd done to him.
And later today,
You don't want to say anything, do you? You want to say,
Yeah.
listen, you want to say something? Are you sure you want to say something? I'm waiting for you.
Millions of us are hospitalized with heart-related chest pain or a certain type of heart attack, what doctors call ACI.